Babe, new Saint Tontas video just dropped. The most creative devs in Gacha gaming. Okay, well, we know who he's talking about. Let's see what he's talking about and if we agree. I do like Saint Tontas' content, and I think he don't get me wrong, he's a much better content creator than I am. But I just think recently, some of his statements regarding Wuthering Waves and in general his viewpoints, they seem to be leaning into the disingenuous side of things now. But I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. The dude makes good content, and I'm hoping this is going to be a good video. So let's check it out then, shall we? See what he's got to say, because I do glaze Kuro a lot, and as everybody knows who watches my content, Wuthering Waves is probably my favourite. Well, it is my favourite gacha game at the moment. And yeah, let's see what he's got to say then.
Kuro Games just weathered our waves once again with their most recent set of new features and quality of life.
I must admit, 1.4 is looking like a banger update, though. I think I'm looking forward to this the most, if I'm honest, even more so than 1.3. Obviously, we had the story for 1.3 and the new update in the area, but the events were lacking. I have been very impressed with what the events are looking like so far. Well, at least what we've seen. The new main event looks great. Elusive Realm's back. I'm happy about that. We're getting the Dream Link. This is all really good stuff. And because I have been saying for a while, I think the events lack in this game and endgame as well, which I keep banging on about. But I think we're definitely seeing improvement, and I'm happy to see that.
Updates. And let's just say that these are some of the most creative ones yet. Features like improved wave plate expenditure, our first iteration of skins, and likely the most exciting addition of all, a team burst.
I'm not a fan of this translucent stuff for the, especially for the swords though. It's like, hey, you know, if you like it, you like it. Not for me though. And I know it's an option, but it's just not for me. This Dream Link system's great though. How is it going to work? Is it going to be intros, or is it going to be like your Forte? I'm not too sure coming all together, but it's pretty dope though.
Attack that'll have you thinking the game has turned into an MMO. And it's clear from the nature of these implementations that Kuro's adding exactly what players are looking for. No doubt due to their impeccable ability to listen to players. When we think about the many new...
They do a good job, don't they, of listening to players? They definitely do. I think out there, I'm trying to think, let me know, because I haven't played all gacha games, so I don't know this for a fact, but they definitely are one of the most, is reactive the right word to use? They listen, and they do respond quite quick, don't they? They're very transparent, and I agree on that. They do, the devs listened, the meme, but they do seem to.
New additions Kuro's designed for Wuthering Waves, it's clear that they're constantly looking for ways to improve the player experience.
Yeah,
and there have been countless titles and genres that they've studied very well to make their implementations the best they could possibly be. When developers like Kuro take inspiration from others when designing their game's new features, that's not copying, especially when you have to take the time to...
Okay. All right. I am one of the kind of people that I absolutely have no issue with copying others' homework. Everything is inspired by something at the end of the day. But wasn't it Saint Tontas who kind of made a scoff at Genshin in regards to them taking stuff from Wuthering Waves in movement mechanics and kind of like laughing at it as if it was just copying? So I can understand the argument that it's worked upon. It's generative in a sense. It's inspired, but not exactly copying. But also, though, there are definite things that have, you know, let's not pretend that Wuthering Waves isn't taking a lot from Genshin. So yeah, you know, it's weird that, isn't it? That it's not copying when Kuro do it, but when Hoyo do it, it's definitely copying.
To identify and adapt those features to fit your game's design, world, and playstyle. It's not as simple as a copy and paste. And with Kuro's track record of absolutely fantastic updates across the short 5.5 months Wuthering...
You know what I'm going to say, though? I'm going to say here, great update. Thor of Eons, great update. To the Shore's End, great update. In the Turquoise Moon Glow, wasn't that great, if I'm honest. I think it was kind of a mid-update. It was filler, and I don't mind filler, but I don't think it was the best update, if I'm honest. The event was fine, but it was nothing special at all. Let's not pretend if it wasn't for getting Yao out of that event, I don't think anybody would have cared for it at all. I would rather a lot more like little mini games and stuff if you're going to do anything like that in the future. Just give us some really cool little arcade mini games. I would really like something like that, because I think that's one thing this game's lacking. Talking about this the other day when we were looking at Project 2/3 Utopia. already that looks like it's got like little mini games and side scrolling. I think it was what's that game called now? Nikki Infinity. Is it that like Disney dress up kind of gacha game? Already that seems like it's got loads of little mini games. Zenly Zone Zero does that really well as well. I'd like to see those sort of just like cool little arcade mini games within Wuthering Waves as well. I definitely think it's missing that.
Waves has been live, they've proven themselves as one of the industry's most creative and competent developers. And today, we'll be taking the time to break down how this creativity has come to life, examining the titles and features Kuro's taken inspiration from, and how they've been able
I spoke about this before. As soon as I saw Dream Link, I thought of Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. And kind of, I guess, not the same, but a little bit like Aether Gazer's Chain Link attack or whatever it's called, where you've got your character on field, but then you can join the ults of the two characters off field and they come together to do a Chain Link attack or whatever it's called. And that's really actually kind of cool. But as soon as I saw Dream Link, I was just like, in my head, I just thought of Grand Blue Fantasy.
to adapt them so seamlessly into the Wuthering Waves world, while making them...
You know, like, you look at that, it's not copying. I don't think it is copying, it's inspiration, but it's weird that when Wuwa takes something from another game, or should I say Genshin takes something from Wuthering Waves, it's scoffed at kind of thing.
Feel even better than the previous iterations. When you see all of the different ways these devs have improved the game before even reaching its half anniversary, you can't help but wonder what other devs are doing and what else they have in store after 1.4. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe
Alright, let's
button.
go, let's get into it.
The biggest highlight from the most recent developer notes is the first item on the list, Dream Link. While this mechanic seems to be tied to the return of the elusive realm, it's also one of the most exciting new additions we've seen to combat, with a fantastic...
So is this part of the elusive realm as well? Because like, you know this new Somnian Labyrinth, is this separate to the elusive realm, or is it just part of it? Is it all coming together? I thought it was separate. I thought this was going to be like the main event of the update. Elusive Realm was coming as well, and then this event was going to become permanent, and the Elusive Realm was going to go away like normal. So does this Dream Link go over into the Elusive Realm as well, or am I just getting this totally wrong? Because that's kind of how I took it from what I read. But I am a smooth brain, so don't take what I say as gospel.
Fantastic action close-up of the entire party, followed by a massive number of attacks from 3 on-fielded characters. You don't see visuals like this outside of co-op game modes. Those familiar with another party-based action RPG, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, will see some huge similarities between this mechanic and their chain burst system, which is one of the most hype-inducing moments you can have across its fights. However, a lot of those hype moments honestly feel like a cutscene after the first few activations, and its implementation in Wuthering Waves captures that same level of hype while also looking far more engaging while you're actually doing damage. Wuwa is also a game where you
I don't know about that. We've seen a little bit of it, and I really like the implementation of this because I do like that from Grand Blue Fantasy. I don't know why it looks much better though. I don't see where he's coming from there. But I am really looking forward to this system, this mechanic. I wouldn't even mind this mechanic. Could it branch out into the main game? Could we see it return in other events, potentially some other part of endgame? You know, maybe they build on it and add some extra nuance to it and synergy depending on the characters you're using. That would be really cool as well.
Never get to see all 3 of your characters fighting at once, so this feature is shaping up to be one of the coolest new additions to gameplay. While the activation conditions for Dream Link aren't clear from the post,
you actually see your characters fighting at the same time. I thought you were just seeing they were like their fortes or their intros or whatever it is that's been initiated. I didn't think you could actually see the characters, like the other resonators, or am I tripping there? I remember when I looked at it, I didn't think you could see the other resonators. You could just see their resonance skills, basically. I could be wrong though.
It looks like one of the requirements is breaking the boss's stagger bar, and it's a fantastic way of adding even more benefits to a mechanic that, in all honesty, feels like it's a bit more passive and automatic in gameplay rather than something players actively strategize around. The game arguably has the best combat system in gacha gaming and has only innovated on it more and more, and we can only hope that Kuro can take the best.
I do still agree that Wuthering Waves is in my opinion, the best combat in gacha gaming. I'm not gonna lie though, you know, after the more and more I play PGR, people kept saying it to me, trust me bro, PGR clears it. I wouldn't go that far, at least yet, but as I'm getting deeper and deeper into PGR, you know, I'm sounding like a stan of PGR now. I'm starting to see different characters and more of the combat when I'm like, bro, this just keeps getting better and better. I still think Wuthering Waves is a better system though, just from the fact of it being, I suppose, a little bit more free in its essence, but PGRs is still really good.
Best of these new experimental features and add them
Kuro
into the
no
baseline
combat, man.
gameplay. They've already taken the high-speed dashing from the Infinite Battle Simulation and incorporated them into this new game mode in 1.4, as
I think this is more just they're taking it from Lumi, aren't they? I was speaking about this as well on stream. You know where we've spoken before about how Genshin has movement mechanics locked behind premium characters, and it's not necessarily great for the free to play player base, shall we say, and some of these movement buffs only work in certain areas and not in the entirety of the game. I was thinking how we've got Lumi having a increased dash that she's got. I'll be interested to see what if Kuro used 4-star characters as a vehicle for potentially adding new overworld traversal mechanics into the game. I know we've got it in Shorekeeper, we've kind of got a little butterfly version, but I was just wondering, like, that could be a way to try and please the free-to-play players, but actually bring in, like, I guess you could say, like, a power creep in regards to movement, but it actually be attainable by everybody. I was just kind of thinking about it earlier in stream. I don't know if it'd be a good idea or not, but, you know, just let me know what you think. Would you be happy with that? Or would you rather it just be done through echoes and such in the future? Or would you be fine with, like, 4 stars potentially, like, having some abilities when you're running around that, like, oh, I was able to get over this area quicker, or jump higher, or potentially glide for longer or something. Like, I don't know, I'm just putting it out there.
As well as in Lumi, the new 4-star characters kit. Another new feature getting added so early on in Wuwa's release is something players have been asking for since day one: skins. While character skins are still unfortunate,
it's just on the 4 stars, which obviously I think is a bit of a test bed. I was saying I'd like to see maybe 4-star skins coming to the Battle Pass, the podcast, potentially at the end of it. And maybe even some hover droid skins. I saw some mods actually that showed off a hover droid as a pumpkin. I was like, oh, I never really thought of hover droid skins. Glider skins as well could become in part of the podcast, in my opinion. It'd be a good way to get extra people to want to actually buy the podcast. And then obviously premium weapon skins either being just sold as premium weapon skins or becoming part of a greater 5-star premium character coating with like VFX and everything like wrapped up all in one.
Fortunately unconfirmed, the
cool.
addition of weapon skins is a great sign for what's ahead. Characters like Zhang Liao, Jeja, and Encore don't actually use their weapons very much in combat, making their appearance somewhat awkward on their characters.
Yeah, I was saying this, like gauntlets and rectifiers are totally fine to go invisible. I think it's a good move to do that. The weapons, like having the transparent, translucent mode though, I don't know about that so much. Like, I'd kind of like them just to have, like, maybe give them a glow as well, like, so they kind of look like an energy sword or a lightsaber. But yeah, I don't know, it'd look a bit weird. I guess we'll have to see what it looks like with the weapons, the swords,
even if they have a great design. With Kuro's addition of invisible skins for rectifiers, gauntlets, and partially hidden skins for all other weapons, they're just giving players more and more options.
Yeah, I'm curious, why would you want a partially hidden skin for your sword? Like, let me know. I'm genuinely asking. I'm not being facetious. I just don't understand why you'd want that for me personally. It just seems weird for that, but definitely for the gauntlets and the rectifiers, I think that makes a lot of sense. That does.
For how to enjoy the game, and the characters they've been spending their time and money on. Games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero aren't even close to an implementation like this, and it's awesome to see Kuro implementing more and more systems from one of their past titles, Punishing Grey Raven. And when you see how much
there are a lot of gacha games that do skins though, you know, like it's not just Kuro. This isn't a thing that's unique to Kuro, Wuthering Waves, or PGR. But I will say, PGR, oh my days. We was watching a video earlier showing off some of the skins, especially for Watanabe Epitaph. Oh my god, there's the one that makes him look like a demon cowboy. It is absolutely ridiculous how good it is. I really hope that we get that sort of level of resonator skins in Wuthering Waves. Otherwise, I'll be kind of annoyed, if I'm honest, that they'll go to that sort of level in something like PG on that don't implement that in Wuthering Waves, because I think it'll just be a moneymaker as well.
Detail and care goes into the design of that game's skins. Wuwa has a lot to look forward to when it comes to its roster. The last set of announced changes are less focused on new features and instead focused on improving quality of life
all these
for the
quality of
old.
life changes
And let's
are great,
just say
actually.
that these are some of the best and most highly requested updates we've ever seen. First
I
off,
think
Kuro's done away
the resonator stats is a massive deal. I'm really happy about that.
with the annoying little walks from waypoints to various
this
challenges
is
like
great
boss
as well.
battles and tacit
Why on earth this was never like that initially? Like the idea that I can go to forgeries and other things, but I have to like travel to the nearest beacon for a boss battle or a tacit field, especially when some of the tacit fields are underground and stuff. So it's like, it's nothing major, but it's just like, come on, man, let me go straight to it. It's super annoying.
fields, with basically every
This is a
other
big
way to
move.
spend wave plates directly available for teleportation. They've just simplified the experience across the board,
Yeah, definitely
taking
agree
away
with
the
this.
restrictions in the experience that are
Can we just have a video? Like, don't get me wrong, I make comparisons all the time. I do. But I don't think we need to with this. Like, let's just big the game up. Let's just go with it because they're doing great things. There's plenty of reasons and good opportunities to compare the two games, in my opinion. Definitely. But not every opportunity needs to be taken to fire some shots across the bow.
artifacts from Genshin Impact.
I
Another
think it just like, and it's not because I don't think you should compare them, because like I'd lightheartedly do it all the time. Like, this might sound hypocritical. I do. And I take the piss because I think it's funny to take the piss out the communities. But I think sometimes it's one thing the Wuthering Waves community's kind of looking a bit like, I don't know, they're kind of looking a little bit annoying recently. It's like every single time they do something, it's got to be like, well, Genshin could never, which I get it. It's a meme. I understand that. I'm not getting that deep into it. I really don't care that much. But I think it just makes the Wuthering Waves community look a little bit, I don't know, like that annoying little friend that's trying to join in the party all the time and they're just saying dumb shit. That's kind of what it feels like anyway. I'm not saying he's wrong, because he's not, but it just feels like these videos become less about bigging up Wuthering Waves and it's more about just like, well, how can we shit talk Genshin? Which, hey, I'm here for Genshin shit talk. I like to throw a bit of shit at Genshin sometimes. It's pretty funny. And if any game deserves it, I think Genshin does sometimes. But I also think, let's move forward sometimes, man. Let's talk about the game, without like referencing the other all the time. But at the same time, I do it a lot anyway, so it's not a big deal. I just wanted to put that out
The
there.
way they're streamlining the grind is by offering double the cost and double the reward for any run in
It's like I say that, and then in like my next video, I'll probably be chatting some wild shit about Genshin. You know what I mean? Well, it's all just for jokes in it at the end of the day.
any material dungeon, turning your daily tacit fields from 4 to 2 or your forgery challenges from 6 to 3. This is a great take on saving player time that might remind you of the auto clear function from Honkai Star Rail, but Wuthering Waves unfortunately does not play itself. And even if it did, claiming double the rewards in the same amount of time is still faster than automatic rewards at the default speed.
It would be kind of cool though if you could just claim them. So you obviously the game can't play itself, but you could just claim them, because let's face it now, when you're going to do those sort of challenges, I don't know, how do you feel about this? I like the idea of being able to just auto claim, but then I guess it's like skipping part of the game. Maybe allow it so you can only have so many auto claims a week potentially. Would that be a good middle ground? Because sometimes it is annoying to have to do certain things, but then if you take that away, you're taking away the essence of the game. But I feel like it would be nice now and again, especially when you need to get some stuff done quickly. You've got something to do, but you're like, I've got 10 minutes to just quickly get this done. And you feel like you're on a sweat to get it done, and then oh shit, I ain't even got time to finish this one off. I'm just gonna bounce, and you miss that stuff for that day, which I know is a first world problem. But now and again, it would be nice to be like, I don't know, you get a set amount of auto clears a week, and you can choose to use them whenever. So sort of today, I ain't got time for this. Let me just auto clear those forgeries or that tacit field or whatever it might be. I think that'd be kind of cool if I'm honest. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Because I feel like that might be a bit of a hot take if I'm honest.
Kuro streamlined the player experience without turning the game into an auto battler. But if there are still further optimizations that need to be made on the grind, they only need to take more inspiration from themselves by integrating more of the simplified grinding systems from Punishing Grey Raven. The quality of life didn't end at leveling. It extended to Echoes as well. Echoes,
Yeah, this
with
is
their
a really good thing,
flexibility
actually.
and skills, are
I do like these to be able to go like straight to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, which I know it's not a major thing, but just having to click the, you know, right, a gold or like 2, 3 golds and a purple, and then, you know, and oh, right, that's bricked. Start again, where you can just go 5, okay, 10, okay, all right, let's try go a little bit further. Oh, that one's bricked, right, start again. It just makes things a little bit smoother, doesn't it? It definitely does.
Easily one of the most original and creative takes on gear in gacha gaming.
I agree with
Kuro
that,
has
yeah, definitely.
finalized information
Echoes
for
are
their
the
stats
best
and
gearing
Sonata
system
on
in
drop,
Gacha, in
adding
my
a lot
opinion.
more satisfaction to the Echo grind by giving you
Yeah,
the
this is good
immediate
as well.
joy of an onset drop.
Do you know what you can bring in now, Kuro? If you want to make this, you know, when I'm having to farm something like a healing bonus on an annoying thing like the gigantic turtle, who I hate with a passion, who never wants to drop it, and then when he doesn't drop an echo, it's like watching a Bollywood death, and then you have to sit around waiting for them to respawn. And I've had people say, well, just go and farm another boss. It's like, well, I'm trying to farm this set of gear. Give me a bait consumable. Let me eat the bait or throw the bait down, and it just instantly makes the boss respawn. Like, am I tripping? Because like I've mentioned that a few times, and every time I mention it, it kind of people just like, whatever. And I feel like it's a really good idea. So let me know, man. Like, I think that's a good idea. You know, when you're sitting there and you're like, well, I best may as well have a look at the echo stats then, because otherwise I'm just standing around. Or am I crazy?
Rather than later when you're organizing your loot. This wasn't a problem at all if tacit fields were the only way you farmed echoes, but with a player's ability to infinitely grind in the overworld, modern problems require modern solutions. They've also simplified the leveling process, knowing how often players will level in increments of 5, saving even more time. The last update...
It's the only way to level, really, isn't it? Unless when you first started the game and you were just starting to level up a few echoes here and there, you'd level them to what you could, I guess. But it's the only way to level, isn't it? You level to see your first tuner, and maybe some people just do the first 2 just in case. And then he's like, okay, all right, should we continue? Let's continue. That's bricked. Start again kind of thing. So yeah, it just makes sense, doesn't it?
It featured the classic endgame mode, the Tower of Adversity. And they've removed all of the little annoyances like exiting out of the battles completely to swap gear. With all of these listed updates, Kuro has clearly shown their ear is on the door whenever...
Has he got rid of the little Saint Tontas snowman face thing that I saw in a couple of his videos? Because I must admit, wasn't a big fan, if I'm honest. I think if you're going to go down the VTuber route, you may as well like go all in. It like kind of wasn't it really, so I think it looks like he scrapped that, yeah.
A player makes a complaint about the game, and the approach that they take to address those complaints are...
Lumi looks so good as well. I've seen some conversations going online as well where people are like, you can't tell me Lumi's a kid. People are thirsty and stuff. I really like her design, I do. I think she's one of the potentially most interesting designs so far in the game, actually. And she's actually one of my favorites. She's really rapidly becoming one of my favorites. Jinsei, forever. And I do like Changli, but I really like Lumi.
Always creative while still maintaining the feel of
Cammy,
the game. You see it?
I've got to wait till she's in the game, but like anybody who watches me knows I'm simping for Cammy.
In Dreamlink, you see it in the wayplayed optimizations, and you even see it in the weapon skins. Kuro's giving the players what they want, and they've been doing it since the launch of the game.
I will say one thing though, I don't think this is the most creative part though. You know, skins are nothing new. It's, you know, everybody's been asking it from day one. They've listened. Well, it's not like they've just come up with this magical idea and everyone went, why didn't any of the other games do that? You know, it's not like it's anything fresh in that regard. The quality of life things are good, but it's nothing like unique in itself either. Dreamlink is definitely not unique either. These are all things that have been taken from other IPs and just brought into the fold, which I don't have a problem with, by the way. I'm just letting you know that. The only reason I brought these up is because I remember saying Tontas scoffing at Genshin kind of doing the same to Wuthering Waves, which for me, if you're going to take inspiration from other titles, as a community, let's not be like, wait a minute, they're copying off our title now, because that's, I just think it's a little bit weird, if I'm honest, at the end of the day, because let's not pretend this game isn't heavily inspired by a prior game. And then I know people always say this, well, it's inspired by Zelda. All right, whatever. Well, I'm just saying, you know, I want us to be copying homework in whatever game, because at the end of the day, I want better games. If it means taking something from another game and improving on it, I've had it. I'm happy. Copy that homework all day long, baby. Plagiarize even. I'll take it.
See it in the wayplayed optimizations, and you even see it in the weapon skins. Kuro's giving the...
To be fair, though, that weapon skin does suck, though, does it? I know it's a first one, and it's like a freebie, and like obviously better ones will cost, but it sucks really, doesn't it? We could have had a better skin to start off with, if I'm honest.
Players what they want, and they've been doing it since the launch of the game. One of the greatest additions released in version 1.2 was the hover droid shooter. And at first, this thing just...
Give us skins for this as well. Like, I can't believe it. When I watched that mod video, I was like, why didn't I think of skins being on the hover droid? And obviously gliders, I've been saying that for ages, but like, it just looks so cool seeing a pumpkin hover droid shooter. I just thought it was dope.
Seemed like a replacement
Jenna
for a
Woju.
pistol character for overworld
Don't mod your game though,
challenges,
guys.
But Kuro made it so much more than that. With the ability to instantly break any
Yeah,
ore
this was
while
really good.
still being completely usable while
And it is a quality of life update, this is. It
gliding.
definitely
They made
is.
it
It's
something
quintessentially a
actually worth
quality of life
using in
update.
regular gameplay rather than a gimmick that you pull out once an update. It's a gadget that aids your overworld experience.
I must admit, I don't really fetch it out that often though, because like, I just don't find myself like farming for ore that much really, because I've done a lot of it over the time. But yeah, I don't tend to find myself. But to be fair, I'm not a massive mint picker. I still haven't got 100% in any of the areas. If I might have one now, maybe the mine. Yeah, I got the mine done. Yeah, I'm not a mint picker, to my detriment, because my echoes could do with being improved as well, even though there's other ways to get it. But yeah, I should really start mint picking a bit more.
Not something that's necessary for it. This game, in the short 5.5 months since its release, has seen more
Dude, I thought this was Yinling when I first saw this, and I was like, what? And it's not.
updates to its baseline gameplay and combat than others have seen in over 4 years, and many of its prior
He's not
and
wrong.
upcoming
He's not
changes have been directly inspired by the successes of prior titles, both in Gacha and not. Kuro's only going to make this game better and better, and
Yep.
they're only using
So I think the fair thing is, though, let's not scoff at other games when they do the same. When they look at what Wuthering Waves is doing and they take from it, as a community, can we not be like, oh, look at them just copying now? Because a lot of the things in Wuthering Waves, well, pretty much everything in Wuthering Waves is not unique, you know? That probably the most interesting and unique, even though it's, somebody would argue, well, actually, it's not unique, and it's probably not, is the ecosystem for your gear. Or, you know, everything else is pretty much improved upon previous work, isn't it? I just wanted to say that, because like I say, last video I watched of him, I just, you know, I kind of like, it triggered me more than it should have. It doesn't really bother me that much. I'm just saying, you know, we're here for a video, but like, I was like, come on, man. You know, I don't think as a community we should be getting mad at Genshin taking stuff from Wuthering Waves when, let's not pretend that homework hasn't been revised here.
the best features from other games when they're not coming up with something original themselves. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.
What did you say at the end there? Sorry, I
As
missed that.
always, it's going to make baseline gameplay and combat than others have seen in over 4 years, and many of its prior and upcoming changes have been directly inspired by the successes of prior titles, both in Gacha and not. Kuro's only going to make this game better and better,
Man,
and they're
Kami
only
looks so
using
good.
the best features from other games when they're not coming up with something original themselves. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe.
What system in Wuthering Waves is 100% unique? And I'm genuinely asking that, because like, I don't want to say what I think they are in my opinion, because somebody would rock along and go, actually, that's inspired by from this game 12 years ago, because at the end of the day, is anything truly original nowadays? It's always kind of, you know, inspired by something else, isn't it? Yeah, you know what? It was a good video. You know, it was a good video. I must admit, though, I do feel like recently quite a few of Saint's videos have been a little bit like, I don't know, I think he's entering his villain arc, you know what I mean? But he does make really good videos, though, at the same time. So, yeah, guys, if you haven't already, check out Saint Tonta, especially if you want some glazing. You're going to get some glazing. And, yeah, I can't really disagree with most of what he said there, really, for the most part. But, yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section, guys, about some of the things I mentioned as well, regards to some of the things I thought that'd be kind of cool to add into the game regarding the 4-star weapons, you know, the bait system, and just little things that I mentioned in the video. I'd be curious to see what you guys think about that anyway. And, yeah, if you have enjoyed, like the video, as I said, comment below, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, ta-ra.